All right. I guess we can start, and like people who will be joining a bit later will miss a little bit of an introduction. So hi everyone, welcome to my talk about keeping work-life balance and fighting burnout. I'm Ganna Boitsova. Probably someone has already been to my previous events. Nice to see you all anyway. And just before we actually start, I think I have a confession to make. Like the person who is going to talk to you about work-life balance in a couple of minutes, that is myself, has been preparing and finishing the slides for this deck yesterday at 10 p.m. Instead of actually spending time with my family and doing my personal stuff. And I guess that's pretty much all you need to know about keeping work-life balance and perfect planning. Yeah, so it's just to summarize, if seriously, it's just to summarize that no matter how perfect your planning is, any day can be the day when something goes wrong or something goes beyond your control. And it's all right, because we're all humans and life happens to us. It's just the challenge to us all to learn how to navigate it. And we're going to talk about it today. So I'm pretty sure that for most of you, today's talk about work-life balance and burnout is not the first one on this topic. There are plenty of such events throughout EPAM communities and in social networks, because first of all, mental health is a trend today, and secondly, we live in challenging times. That's like to put it mildly. My idea was that there are numerous talks about work-life balance and fighting burnout because it's a trendy topic, but I think my talk will be a little bit different from the usual ones because most of the talks I have been visiting on this topic so far were held by mental health professionals, psychologists, doctors, personal coaches, people from the scientific side of it, people who have professional expert background on this topic. Unlike them, I have zero professional background. I don't have psychology background or coaching background. This is just pieces of my personal advice and my personal experience. Because I'm a person who is juggling between several large contexts, and sometimes I notice that I manage to do more than like my colleagues and my friends, and people ask advice. So I thought that it would be a nice idea for maybe to share some pieces of advice today. And I also have a secret agenda for today. I secretly hope that in the end we manage to have some kind of a discussion, or maybe some of you feel like putting things in chat. So probably someone also will share some advices and life hacks from your side, how you fight burnout or keep your balances. So I will be able to take something for myself as well, and we will have like a fair exchange here. So let's start here. Just to let you know, I have planned for about 10 to 15 minutes of discussions and Q&A session afterwards. But if you feel like asking a question or interrupting me or just chiming in with your voice or putting things in chat, you're absolutely welcome to interrupt anytime, because it's not like some kind of fancy presentation. It's just if we manage to have a dialogue and a live discussion, that will be great. So a couple of words about myself, just for you to understand like how my daily routine looks like, and maybe to decide for yourself whether it resonates with your daily schedule and routine or not. So I'm Ganna Boitsova. I am Associate Director for Experience Consulting for Ukrainian team at EPAM. Before that, I have been Head of Customer Experience Office at a large Ukrainian corporation. And still before that, I was a project manager in a bank. And I am telling you all this just to let you know that throughout my whole professional career, I have been, ever since I graduated from the university, I have been part of the corporate world, meaning, like in plain terms, meaning that I was working office hours. Usual office hours, usually from 9 to 6, but of course, overtimes happen, sometimes it is later. But just the general idea is that most of my weekdays are dedicated to my full-time job. I'm doing office hours, because if you take a freelancer, their life will be a totally different story. So I am an office person. And that is my major professional role, which undertakes the most of my working day. I have another professional role. I am also an active member of CX community globally. I mean, I'm a member of Customer Experience Professionals Association. I'm a judge at several CX awards. I'm telling you all this not just to show off, but just to let you know, just to show you that each day I have to juggle between separate contexts. I have a lot of communications with very different people from all across the globe, different dialects, parallel working streams, meaning that I need to keep my balance and to juggle them all the time. So it keeps my it keeps my days pretty packed. Also, besides these professional roles, I obviously have my personal life. I have my family, I have my kid, I have a lot of hobbies. I like to travel, I like to do sports. Like I did most of it before the war. Obviously, now I'm trying to get my life back on track. But the thing is that personal life, being a parent, being a partner, having hobbies, and like taking care of your health is also very time consuming and energy consuming thing. And in order to stay on track with that, you need to know how to balance it with the rest of it. On top of this all, I am a very vivid, a very vivid example of what is called a perfectionist syndrome. I am that type of person who wants to get everything right, who thinks that when you start something, better get it right, or do not start at all. Yeah, like play hard or go home. All this, all these things are are my sort of thing. All this perfectionist thing combined with a pretty busy schedule and I don't know, hunger for life and for like I like to try everything new. I like to get everything at once. So all combined together makes a perfect combo for the thing that we are calling burnout. I'm sure that most of you have already heard of that, and there are a lot of definitions all across Google of what burnout stands for. I like this one because it really resonated with me. It's by Adam Grant. It says burnout. It says burnout is being so drained that you have nothing left to give. So for me, it's a very, very exact description of what I feel when I am in this condition. Because for me, it's like there are two flows of energy. One flow of energy is from the outward to me. It's like inflow of energy, like positive vibes, which I get from doing things I want and I like, from communicating with my family, from success at my project. So something like energy which I get from outer world. And there is the outflow of energy which I give to things. So if my inflow of energy is messed up somehow, I have nothing to give. So my outflow is stopping. It is drained, and that is how I feel. And obviously, I have been finding myself throughout my like professional adult life. I have been finding myself in this condition several times. And when trying to analyze it, when trying to sort out how to get out of it, how to get back on track, I have identified for myself that the earlier I managed to get back on track, the earlier I managed to identify this condition, the earlier I managed to catch it, the easier it is to get things straight back. So for me, the challenge is to identify those indicators that show me that probably I am moving in the wrong direction, like my burnout and my exhaustion is getting closer. So I need to take action to keep away from it. So I have like made a list of so-called red flags, which for me are indicating that I'm approaching a burnout and I need to take action just to be on guard, not to let it go further. And I have a suggestion for you here. As I go through my little list, I suggest you doing some little self-analysis exercise. You can just analyze for yourself whether these indicators work for you as well. You're welcome to put in chat that like this works for me, this doesn't work for me, or even you can identify your indicators of how you probably feel that something goes wrong with you, with your mind or body, that you are approaching exhaustion and you need to maybe stop and have a rest. After I go through my list, we can make a short break just to have a look at chat and at what you have shared with each other. So how I understand that I'm approaching a black zone. My first indicator is that I get up in the morning already tired. I am really a morning person, and I usually get up full of energy. I can get up like really early, like at 5 or 6 a.m. My brain works perfectly well. I'm full of like, I don't know, full of energy and vibe. So this is normally how I function. But if I notice that I wake up in the morning and I feel sleepy, I don't feel like getting up at all, that's for me, that's the first physical sign that something goes wrong, and I probably need to stop and consider what's going wrong with my physical exhaustion. So that's the first sign I notice. The second one is that I get stuck on things and it's hard for me to focus. By getting stuck, I obviously mean mostly getting stuck on social media and social networks, like scrolling the news, scrolling the streams and reels, I don't know, browsing through some photos. Sometimes it's not on digital. Sometimes I can just get stuck, I don't know, sitting and staring at the window, metaphorically speaking. But the thing is that if I notice that it's getting hard for me to focus and I start to procrastinate and I start to get distracted intentionally by small things, not to get deep into some information or some, I don't know, complex task, that's again for myself, that's a sign that something is changing, and I need to think of this. The third sign is that I get easily annoyed by people generally. Again, this is compared to my normal condition, because normally I'm quite, I don't know, friendly and easygoing. I have a lot of communication with people. I can sometimes have like 8 or 10 meetings a day, and that is a lot, believe me, with different people, and it doesn't exhaust me normally. So I like communicating. I like finding approach to different types of getting in contact with people. For me, it is usually a normal type of activity, but if communication starts being difficult, if everyone irritates me, if a normal request or an innocent question from my kid, I don't know, makes me angry, that means that I'm tired, that I'm overloaded, and again, I need to reconsider what's going on. And the last one is, it sounds pretty generic. But it still works for me. I've put it as I'm losing my joy, meaning that, again, in my normal state of mind, I am a pretty positive and optimistic person. I always trying to see the bright side. I actually, I pretty much like my life. Days can be tough, but this is how I arrange them. So I pretty much like most of the activities that are happening in my professional and private life. I like wake up every day in a nice mood. But if in the morning I wake up in the day and I like mentally looking in my day thinking, oh God, this day is gonna be boring and dull and I wish it could end faster, and like, you know, this suffering mode, like an old lady grumbling, I understand that this is not my natural condition. It's something unusual for me, and that's a sign to watch out. So these are kind of like signs for me to be aware of. And I suggest that we have a look in chat. I could see something put in there. Yeah, being annoyed with the stuff you're stuck with. Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a combo, because you first get stuck, then you get annoyed, then you get angry on yourself, then you start feeling guilty because you wasted time, and that's like a vicious circle. And when you're sitting there like thinking those thoughts over and over, time goes by and you keep losing it, and yeah, so that's a vicious circle. I said cursing like a sailor. Yes, cursing yourself, because you are a lazy person, obviously, zero self-discipline, you are like a total loser, can't do anything right, all that sort of stuff. All right, what else do we have? Being annoyed, looks like medium rare than early signs to me. Yeah, medium rare. So yeah, but what is an early sign then? It's interesting to know. too many tasks, don't know when what to start. Yes, feeling overwhelmed sometimes with different tasks can be demotivating in itself. Like when the task, like when your to-do list is so large, then you like you understand that you don't know where actually to start. It also goes about planning, but it still can act as a very strong demotivator. Yeah, thank you for your answers. And I think we will have something more to discuss a little bit later. So let's move on. Like like everyone has their indicators for the burnout, but what's the next step? Well, I have identified the burnout. What to do with this with this information? For myself, my actions to how do I approach it depend on the reason behind it. Because for myself, as a person who is very prone to self-analysis, I have identified 4 main reasons which lead to this condition. And depending on the reason, my actions might differ. So what are the reasons for that? What's causing it? The first reason, which is like the most pretty obvious one, it's physical exhaustion. And like I put physical here, but here I mean both physical and mental, because like informational overload can also be exhausting. So I know very well my physical limits, like of my body and mind, like how much time, how much sleep I need, how much fresh air and physical activity I need to feel good. And if I start feeling burnout approaching, the first thing I do is to do a very quick self-check, like whether I have had enough sleep, whether I have had enough sport, whether I have had enough, like, I don't know, fresh air. Like, for example, if I have had like 5 hours of sleep for 3 days in a row, that means that I'm just like, obviously, I'm just physically tired. I need to have some sleep. Or, for example, maybe I have had information or communication overload, like 3 days in a row having 8 meetings. It's too much, and maybe I need half a day with no meetings, just focusing on some silent work, just for my mind to calm down. So knowing your physical limits and keeping within them does the job. That's for myself. And this first reason is the simplest one, because as soon as you identify it, it's quite easy to put it right. The next reason is a little bit more complicated, is when you have no quick wins. Like, for example, if you are working on a complicated project where the results will be far away, or, for example, girls who are like, for example, girls who are dieting, maybe you can resonate with that. Like, you are keeping this diet and your weight is stuck, and you just want results fast, and there are no fast results, so you get demotivated and you feel like not doing it anymore. For me, in such a situation, there is an expression that helps me. It sounds like keeping my eyes on the target. So in plain words, it's focusing on the end result. It's just reminding yourself, what is the end result that you are doing this for? What is all this effort is about? What you are going to get if you manage to get it to the end. It will pay back if you manage to get this task to the end. So it's just sometimes just to remind yourself of why you do this, why all this effort. So that's about no quick wins. The third reason is too many contexts. Any working parent will definitely understand me here. It's like I don't know, endless feeling of guilt between doing the work and doing something about your kids. It's like a never-ending story. So for myself, I have identified that when my personal context and my professional context get somehow mixed up, or even if different contexts for different projects get mixed up, it exhausts me a lot. So I do all I can within some reasonable limits to keep this context separate as much as I can. Like, for example, if I'm working on 2 large projects throughout the day, I just try to block time for the first project during the first half of the day and the time for the second project during the second half of the day. Of course, there are force major situations. There are like different different aspects of some, I don't know, urgent messages or emails that you need to answer. But still, the goal, the North Star vision, is to keep this context separate, to focus on one thing at a time, just to be more productive. And also my effort is not to let my personal things, personal issues get into my working routine, and also not to bring my work into my weekend. I don't always manage to do that, but that's what I'm always trying to do and trying to fight for. So I kind of protect my working area, my working time from my personal stuff, and my weekends from my working stuff. And the last reason, which is my favorite one, is feeling guilty. Feeling guilty for I am not a perfect, I don't know, a perfect juggler who juggles all the aspects simultaneously, like the beautiful lady on the picture. By the way, she was not a perfect juggler if you watch the movie. So always feeling guilty that there is something today that I haven't managed to find time to do, that I was not a perfect mom, that I was not a perfect worker, perfect daughter, perfect something. And this feeling of guilt that I haven't managed to do something today, it actually killed a lot of joy for me in what I have been doing. And that was the most frequent case of burnout and feeling demotivated for myself. So when I started to think of how I might approach this, I tried to analyze how I need to be dealing with it. So I took a look at the hypothetical to-do list I wanted to fit into my day, into my life. I wanted to do stuff around the house. I wanted to do stuff around my work, do stuff with my kid, do stuff with my husband, with my family. I want to do stuff for myself. So this to-do list, which I should be doing, as I thought, it was not just huge, it was endless. So it soon became obvious that it is absolutely impossible fitting it into a day. You wouldn't fit all these things into a day. That's like kind of an impossible target. But how do so there will be things that fit into it, and there will be things that will be left behind. But how do I identify which is which? And also, how do I not feel guilty for the things that I haven't managed to fit into my list? And it became kind of clear that I needed some approach, that I needed some, I don't know, some toolkit or some strategy to help me drive through this, to help me navigate this list, not to feel excruciated because I have not managed again to do something from this list. So trying to come up with a strategy on my own, it took me a while, but I started with, I guess, as I put it here, I started with trying to get my perspective right, because I felt like 10 years ago, I felt like this lady at the picture looking at the wrong side of the telescope, where everything was blurred, everything was chaotic, and everything demanded my attention, and everything just like the things from my to-do list were crying out to me, do me, do me, do me. Like I was like I had to put my attention to everything, and it meant spreading my effort too thin. That wouldn't work, that was clear. So I tried to come up with a solution of how to do this. And I came up with a revelation that a perfect balance doesn't exist at all. Maybe work-life balance gurus would not agree with me, but let me explain it a little bit in detail. What I mean by there is no balance. Probably most of you have seen these wheels, like balance wheels, where you have different aspects of your life. This is just an example of a wheel. It gives you like you can have a look at what aspects are there. You can see health, family, finance, romance. They can differ a little bit, but still the basics is the same. So the person is supposed to evaluate each aspect of their life, how good they're dealing with it, and your target is to have every aspect of your life right. Like you're not supposed to have large gaps in each of this, because everything is important and you need to have everything covered. So out of my experience, this doesn't actually work this way. Because if you want a good result at something, if you want to have a breakthrough at something, if you want to have a successful project, or you want to change the status quo in any of these aspects, you want to change the situation. Like, for example, you want to start earning more money, or you want to switch career, or you want a new body, for example, you want to be in a better shape. So if you want any significant result in any of these zones, that will mean that you will have to put most of your effort, most of your resource, and most of your time into this zone. Like, for example, here I'm showing like red arrows on finance, career, and personal growth. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can only choose one zone. It can be 2 or 3, but you definitely cannot choose everything because your effort will be spread too thin. When you are focusing on something really hard, that means that most of your effort goes there. That means, in its turn, that the rest of the zones will get less attention, less time, and less resource for that. Meaning that if we get back to the to-do list from the previous slides, these zones that are marked with red arrows will be the things that are going to your to-do list. These are the things that will be the first in your to-do list. And the things that are in the gray zones, these are the things that will most probably not fit in the list, or they will be the last, or they will not be there at all. So the gray arrows indicate things and zones that most probably you will not have time for. But the most important idea here is that you will not be complaining about like, oh, again, I haven't had time to clean my house or to cook homemade lunch for my kids. You will be saying it, you will be looking at it from different angle. You will be saying, okay, I didn't do this today because it was my choice to focus on other things. I had other priorities, which I chose myself, and I was focusing on my priorities. And these things were going second, and they just didn't fit. These arrows and this distribution of priorities, it's not, it's kind of dynamic. So it can change throughout the period. Like, for example, you have had a period in life when you were focusing on career and, I don't know, personal or financial growth. And after a while, you are changing your focus on family and home, for example, or you are starting a new family and you are giving birth to a baby. Obviously, you will be focusing on the family and you will be giving all your time and resource and effort to this new section, meaning that the rest of the sections will become in gray zone, and those will be the things that will not fit into your to-do list anymore. So again, the trick here is to be fair and to be honest with yourself, saying that it's not something you didn't find time for. It's just something which is not your number one now. You cannot be focusing on like 100 of things. You will just not succeed. You are choosing stuff. That is your choice, and you are not focusing on the rest. So that is logical, and you do not have to feel ashamed for that, or you do not have to feel guilty for that. Also, this is a good tool for assessing whether the priorities you are currently focusing on are right for you. Like, because an interesting thing happens when you compare what people say their priorities are and what their priorities actually are. Because it is very easy to assess. You just need to think of your day or your week to investigate what were the things that you devoted your time to, what you were actually doing, how you spent your time. And these things that you were spending your time on were actually your priorities, not the things that you were planning to do, not the things that you were wanting to do, the things you actually did this week, this month, yesterday, where your exact priorities. And maybe this is a tool to help you understand that maybe you're focusing on wrong things, and maybe you need just to reassemble something. So that was the tool, again, to sort the things right in my head, to understand that I just cannot cover everything simultaneously. I just need to set my priorities right, and it's all right if I do not manage to do the gray arrow zones, because I'm focusing on the red zones, and that's all right. And also there was a technique or a concept that helped me to frame it better for myself. It is called reframing, and you probably have heard a lot of it, about it. It is like the concept is about every situation, everything that is happening, every fact of objective reality can be looked upon from more than just one angle. And there are different angles, like different optics, using which you can assess the situation. And here is the quote. Some people say it is Buddha's quote, other people disagree with that. But anyway, it goes, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional, meaning that bad things will happen. War has happened to many people last year. Bad things to, like, your close family can get sick. Someone can get into trouble. Many bad things can happen to your life, and that's objective reality. We are not living in vacuum, but it is your choice. You have an option of how to react, to take it, I don't know, to take it for granted, to take it as a higher karma, to sit and do nothing, or to just sit in the corner and cry, or to readjust, or to react correctly, or to react proactively to that. And the challenge here is to choose the correct optics, how to react to the things that are going on in your life, and to learn how to manage the things that are within your control. And here, the so-called victim mentality can be your, I don't know, the thing that you need to avoid. This victim talk, putting things in the optics like, you don't have control over your things. Things are just happening and you can do nothing. Saying things like, I can't, I have no other option. The situation is horrible and I can do nothing. I have no idea what to do. Again, I haven't managed to do something. Instead of that, you can rephrase and reframe the things you are doing and the thoughts you're thinking into a more proactive paradigm. Like, instead of saying, I can't do this, you can say, I choose not to do this because I choose to do something else instead. And that will be true because it is your choice. You are not like a slave to anyone or something. Or, for example, I have no idea what to do with something. You can say that I'm still considering my options. I haven't decided yet. I have options and I'm doing my research. I will decide later. Or like, I haven't managed to do something on time. It's because today I have chosen to focus on other things. That was not my priority. The situation makes me to do something. No, my decision is to do something. So this like, it looks like small things, but the language has very strong power behind it, because it kind of defines your thought and your approach. And when you like, it needs to just click in your head that it is mostly, in most cases, it is you who are defining your priorities and how you approach stuff, meaning that you don't feel ashamed or feeling blamed when you don't manage to do something right, because it is your decision and your responsibility. So wrapping up this large, I don't know, strategic frame of mind section, to support this, I also had little tactical, I don't know, life hacks again, to just support this proactive vision and proactive approach, just to keep me sane and running on a daily basis. And again, I will be glad if it helps anyone and you can grab something for yourself. So what helps me do it on a daily basis and actually make stuff happen faster and more efficient? The first one is planning, very meticulous planning of things that are not supposed sometimes to be planned, like, I don't know, some leisure things. Yes, it sounds super boring, and yes, it is super boring, but it actually makes a difference, because planning helps do two things. First one, planning actually helps me to fit more things and more things to do in my day. Because if you plan logistics in advance, if you plan, I don't know, some cooperation, you manage to do more stuff. And secondly, planning helps me protect some things that I don't know, some areas of my personal life that need to be protected. Like, for example, if I want to watch a movie end to end, and this movie will take 2 hours. I want to watch it in the evening. If I plan it, I can plan that I need to start watching the movie at 9, so that I manage to finish it by 11, by the time I get to sleepy and I need to go to sleep. If I plan to start watching it at 9, I will at least make effort to finish all my working stuff and my, I don't know, household stuff by 9, so that I can start my movie night. If I don't plan it to a specific time, I'm for sure will get stuck in the kitchen with cooking or with something, or I will get stuck on the phone with someone, and I will have time when it's already late, so it will be no movie for me. It is just a very basic example of just like planning some things that need to be happening beforehand. So it really helps me. The second one is digital detox. It's actually a trend of the year and a trend of last year, I guess. These are the pictures from my recent talk about customer experience trends. The first picture, the picture at the top, shows a special case for mobile phones, which keeps your phone shut and you cannot see the screen, and you cannot see message previews and not get distracted while you're reading, for example. And the second picture shows a glimpse of a fancy Wi-Fi free retreat area, keeping you off internet. It's very funny how people first invented digital, but now we are inventing ways to get away from digital. That's super strange. But anyways, digital, staying digital all the time and staying online all the time can get really exhausting, especially for Ukrainians who will understand me. Like scrolling news all the time, it can get really I don't know, toxic. So I'm not using any special devices for that. I just sometimes go for a walk, leaving my phone at home, or just leave my home at another room, just not touching it, to make sure I kind of unwind. That works for me. Another very healthy practice, which I grabbed from the support group of teenage parents, and I can tell you that teenage parents are the most messed up crowd ever. It is called white stones. So what it is about? Think of the activities that give you joy, that give you good positive vibes, that give you, I don't know, rest or boost of energy. Like make a short list of such activities, and the important thing here is that these activities need to be relatively short and they need to be easily accessible. Like, for example, it needs to be, why did we miss bullet number 3? I try to stay healthy. You remember that we need to keep track of our health. But that's, I don't know. That's kind of a hint for someone. So these activities need to be short and easily accessible. Like, for example, reading a book for 15 minutes alone, or listening to your 3 favorite songs, or playing with your cat, or calling your friend and, I don't know, gossiping about your nasty neighbor or something. A bad example of this would be going to a dinner to a Michelin restaurant, or going to Maldives with my boyfriend. That would not be easily accessible, right? Especially if you don't have a boyfriend. So think of simple and cheap things that you can do, and think of them as little white stones. And then imagine your day as a path, and put these stones on a path at specific distances from each other. And when you're starting your day, you just walk, do your routine, And then you stumble over a white stone. That means you need to stop and to do this, like to get this little treat, to do what the stones offers you. Go and have this 15-minute break. Go and listen to some music. Maybe you will need to continue the routine in 15 minutes and you have a tough day in front of you, but you will be looking forward to a larger white stone in the evening, like a series of your favorite Netflix series. Or maybe you will be looking forward to a very large white stone during weekend, like, I don't know, an escape breakfast with your husband or something of the sort. Meaning that these will be like mental things, mental anchors that will give you instant joy, a little treat to keep you going, to keep you running. An important thing is that these treats need to be pleasant specifically for you. It shouldn't be something pleasant for your kid or for your partner or for someone else or some socially pleasant looking thing. It needs to be pleasant specifically and egoistically for you. It is very important here to identify the things, the activities that work as white stones for you specifically, because for myself, I started with using other people's white stones and it didn't actually work. Like, for example, I found out that chatting with friends doesn't work as a white stone for me. I need a completely different thing. I need quiet. Or, for example, the aromatherapy stuff doesn't work for me. For myself, the most powerful white stone was having a walk all by myself in silence, just thinking my thoughts, and a couple of others. So for you, it's just to identify what works as a white stone and just place them carefully throughout your day, throughout your week, at the hardest moment. Maybe you want to start your day with that. Maybe you want to wrap up your day with that. So it will give you this little boost of energy. So these are like my little tricks. And to wrap it up, I will just share another slide of my of something I stumbled across accidentally, totally accidentally, but it turned out to be very close to my life philosophy. It is actually an EPAM thing. You can see it says protecting the joy and reducing the stuff. I saw this when I have been working on the EPAM Continuum Experience Consulting offering. As I mentioned at the beginning, I'm an experience consultant, and my job is to help EPAM clients to streamline their customer experience and customer experience journeys. And this concept applied to customer experience journeys, meaning that we'll help our clients as experience consultants to protect customers' joy when interacting with the brand and reduce the stuff in their customer journey. By stuff, we mean like boring or painful routines, like some extra paperwork or some, I don't know, unfriendly user experience, something of that sort. But when I was working on my work piece, but when I saw this, I thought like, oh my God, that looks like my life, because my life is a journey, it is an experience, and I definitely want it to be fun. I definitely want it to be, I don't know, exciting. And that's actually the instruction, the guideline how to do it. So I need to protect my joy. First, I need to identify it, the things that give me joy, protect them, protect my movie nights, protect my walking alone thing. And I also need to reduce the stuff which I don't like. And I have a lot of stuff, like, for example, I hate cooking or I hate like doing stuff around the house. So I need to find my ways to reduce it. Well, to tell you the truth, the way for me to reduce my stuff is mostly delegating it to my husband, but I understand that it wouldn't work for everyone. So actually, that turned out to be my general approach to protecting and identifying and cherishing the things that give me joy and energy, and trying to keep at minimum the things that take the joy, the energy, and the life out of my days. And I think that's all from me on this topic. I could see there are lots of comments in chat, so probably I will stop sharing now. And maybe some of you can share something with your voice just to have a discussion. Maybe what resonated to you, maybe some life hacks that you have also tried. Nikita, I can see you're raising hand.
Yeah, I was writing a comment, but you said that we can use our microphone, so maybe it's better. Sorry. Okay. So one thing that really helped me in previous time, it was the methodology get things done. So it was invented pretty long time ago, but it's still working. The idea is that we need to write down everything what is in our mind and try to keep it focused on one thing. For example, we have many tasks, many things to do, many important things that we think we need to do. So we can just write down them, organize them. And when we are working on something, for example, on a task, project, or so on, and some idea just come up. It's very often, I think, for me and everyone else, when just some idea come up, I need to buy something, I need to watch that movie, I need to investigate something, etc. So we just write it down this in, for example, I'm using Apple, so write it down in a quick note and forget about it. Continue focus work on things that I was doing before. And next day or at evening, I can sort out all this idea and just prioritize if they important, if not important. If I really need to do it, it can be scheduled, I don't know, for a weekend to have 2-3 hours for some, I don't know, stuff to do, investigation and so on. Another thing, I think many of you also saw it, it was updating Outlook and our calendars when we can set up a focus time, when we can set up focus time for our work, and this slot will be booked. So it also really helped me because, for example, as solution architect, I have all days of meeting. I don't have time to work actually because all day scheduled by meetings, and not only like I have clashes of meetings, 2-3 meetings in the same time. And this focus time really helps.
Yes, I do the same with the Outlook. Like blocking focus time definitely helps. But if something urgent comes up, like my colleagues hacked this system and they asked me, Anna, we can see you have no free slots. Maybe there's some focus time there which you can cancel. They know that I'm blocking focus time for myself, so I definitely sometimes cannot refuse. And yes, getting things done is a famous thing, and I know that people even use like they hold special workshops and special learning courses for that. So that's a powerful thing. Thank you. I can see other people. Sergey, I think you were the first one to raise your hand.
Thank you, Anna. First of all, really great talk. Like yet again, from one hand and one side, and at the same time, just I think this is such a great topic, and we're still struggling with all of that, issues again and again. And I think this is just great that you like reiterated this thing. So new things every time. So new angles, new point of views, new tricks. So really inspiring. So thank you very much. And few thoughts, notes from my side. So first of all, I remember while switching to the brand new kind of, stage of my career. So for instance, becoming a manager or something, I realized that like, whoa, so many things happening, and I'm like juggling with all of that endless, looping something. And the thing that really simple thing that helped me to, simplify all of this, it's just the writing things down and prioritizing them, right? So let's like get rid all of that out of my head and literally note all of the potential ideas, quick things to do right now, some, I don't know, hands-on things, some tasks, plans, all of that, and for sure prioritizing them. And also getting rid of useless stuff was also crucial, because honestly, it turned out that third part of all of that massive, chunk and piece, like was absolutely useless, to be honest. So really, I should say that really simply methods like the Eisenhower matrix and stuff like that still works, and please don't think this is something like cosmic, crucial, something like to make your life and routine more structured. No, the step number one is just please sit down and write down all of the stuff, prioritize it, and easily get rid of half of that. If it's not like touched for a long time, you do not feel passion, you do not see like payoff of that, and please be, honest with yourself, first of all. And another thing is just, I love to say that everything I do, even in professional life, is just another representation, a reflection of my personal, world, aspirations, goals, and all of that. So that's why I really love to +1 to what Anna said, plan all of my activities and kind of having short-term goals and long-term goals and map everything I do on this, 2 big pieces. And I'm trying to get rid of the useful or useless stuff, because to be honest, we don't really take much responsibility when we do not see any value, any sense of it, right? And that helps a lot. And that helps me with the quick wins, right? When I have a small successful pace every day, but at the same time, I know that I'm not like checking really tiny minor things like clean up my dishes or something like this. Every single step is a really meaningful thing, while building something more crucial and major in upcoming half a year, let's say. So that works really great, and that makes each of my day like kind of full of meaning, senses, and gives me a lot of energy and inspiration. And the great thing that I've learned last time is like replacing my not healthy and guilty pleasures with similar things, but more healthy. So for instance, if you are, I don't know, YouTube addicted, so what if you can just not watch another, funny cats movie, but you can easily replace this with a, recap of the science fiction, I don't know, novel or something like this, or kind of DIY thing. So something, please try to, replace with your own thing. Or for instance, instead of like watching like absolutely useless TV show like Kardashians, sorry, you can just sit and relax and listen to your favorite songs or something that's supposed to be much more healthy and relaxing, to be honest. I think that's all from my side. But once again, thank you very much, and a really, really great thing.
Yeah, you're welcome. Most of the things you say deeply resonate with me. And, I'm also a service designer. It's like kind of a methodology to craft customer experiences. And in service design, we have the same approach that you need to put everything you're thinking of on paper before coming up with new ideas, because you need to clear your head to be able to generate, to be creative. Because if you keep something on your head, if even smaller things, this is an extra mental load, which will keep you, I don't know, extra stressed. So if you have 10 little things in your head, it will be making you super stressed. So put everything on paper just to get it off your head. All right. We can see also Yuri, who was the next to raise hand.
Hi, thank you for great talk. For me, it's like new point what I want to add. It's regarding like diagnostics and first things. First things that I noticed and admit in some book, I don't remember book at all. Sorry for that. It's you starting to find trying to find silver bullet, trying to find like new approach, new tech which solve everything. You starting to seek in it, and you starting to look at it, to trying to find it, trying to change something unconscious, and even before you started to get tired and so on. So yeah, it's one of the first signs from my point as I think. Second thing that really helps me, it was timetable, print it out, like just on the A4. You printed this timetable like by 15 minutes a day, and just like taking pencil and taking anything what you when you're switching without any judgment and so on. Just note it, and it really helps with procrastination, with what you're really doing, because often we're thinking that we spend a lot of time on one task, but no. Yeah. And thank you one more time.
Yeah, thank you. I printed the timetables as well, and I used to put them on the fridge so that the family can can put their tasks in them. I wonder why they hated that, but yeah, that actually helps. So I can see Ganna also raising hand.
Yeah, hello, Ganna. So
Hello.
thank you very much for this call. The insight that I got from this were those which you shared for energy restoring, because working as a project manager for 12 years, I don't have problems with task cracking. I have a habit of keeping everything in my head. So that's not a problem for me, but since I moved to Poland, I started to have this lack of energy problem, and just like inability to go out of the house and do stuff outside of the house at all. So what helped me with that, instead of trying to pick one of Tone's activities which I can do, try to finish those activities which I had in Ukraine and which I couldn't complete. For instance, I got back to ballet school, and it was actually something that helped me to feel like, okay, I haven't completed this one. It's like незаконченный gestalt, something like this, and completed activity which I had, and it helped my mental situation. So if someone else have this in your problems, I encourage you to do this as well. And thank you, Anna, for sharing the tips.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's for sure. The energy of completing things, of wrapping it up and finishing it, like putting this green tick in the list, saying, "Okay, I've done this." So that's wrapped up. It really gives you a boost of something that you are the person who gets things straight to the end, and so that's motivating. Sergey, I can see your hand still raised. Maybe you had an add-on.
Yeah, sorry, I'm really a chatty person, so I really love thing in the road, from my side. Plus many points to what you guys said, and I believe that getting rid of that anxiety, of uncertainty and of like unfinished deals with the writing down and prioritizing really helps to make you more calm, peaceful and like satisfied. And I'm a big fan of, quotes and aphorisms. So I really love that phrase that planning is not boring. It's just another scale, and kind of way of freedom, and I really love this thing. So when you can just realize that learning yourself and your daily routine and your aspirations a little bit better is not boring, but really significantly, helps you with your career, with your, excel, with your goals and becoming truly yourself. That's just a tiny value, a tiny price for making it happen. And that works really good. So thank you. I'm done.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome to add something more. I don't think we have any more hands raised, but I think we have a little bit of time. I know that we're out of time, but if I'm all right to stay to go through the comments in chat, if you feel like this, so let's have a quick look at that. This May sleep is for the week. Yeah. That for myself, every month is like that. Okay, Atomic Habits helps here. Yeah, I agreed on that. Atomic Habits is a great book. I definitely recommend that. And also another book is Essentialism. I always keep forgetting the name of the author. I will put it in chat. So Essentialism is a great book to help you differentiate what's important and what's not. Okay, another one is Syndrome of Bad Person, when we can't say no, when we think we do not enough, when we think we're a bad employee, bad friend, bad father, etc. Yeah, that's my diagnosis, 100%. Saying no, it's like I'm the worst person ever. I'm just lazy, I don't know, unsupportive, all that sort of things. So it took me, I don't know, years of bad situations when I was like dug under tasks of other people to learn how to say no and to learn how to put some things first. Assertive communication can help with saying no. Yeah, that's for sure. Procrastination. Okay. Skill level grandmaster. I'm reading interesting book. Essentialism. Yeah, someone already, Nikita, you have already shared this. Yes. Yeah, that's a great one. I definitely recommend to start with this. Huge kudos to those who will stay in Ukraine and have energy, willingness to work and live. Yeah, thank you. I'm originally from Kharkiv, relocated last June and still getting back to normal. Well, I am relocated too. I am currently in Turkey, but I can say that relocation and adjusting to new reality takes a lot of energy, but still, I think that's nothing compared to you guys staying in Ukraine currently and actually keep working. You are like the heroes, endless. All right. Max saying that his family hates planning too because you are filling their calendars. Yeah, that's my story. I'm filling everyone's calendars, and yeah, and they need to struggle to have some time off. Okay, you wake up at 10 and find out that I miss going to Maldives with my white stones. Yeah, that sounds that sounds like a nice idea. Sergey, you keep having good ideas here. Yesterday I've started to fill notebook with bullet journal method. Haven't heard of that, but I will definitely look it up. I've been using Task Manager Asana for 3 years. Yeah, I keep hearing people mentioning Asana, and I think that's something worth trying. To-do list, yeah, it really helps. Thank you a lot. I have a to-do list as a private channel pinned in Telegram, and that's was a game changer. Yeah, that's actually a nice idea, to-do list in Telegram, because I use different apps for to-do in on my mobile, but it didn't stick. So I'm just using my poor Outlook calendar for all the to-do lists, coloring them with different colors. Like I have, like, if I need to contact someone, I color it green. If I need to do something on my own, I color it orange. So I have kind of a legend to myself. But I think Telegram channel is a nice idea. Tool shouldn't be a blocker. Yeah, correct. Like, you know, that stories when you spend more time to manage the tool, then it actually saves you time. I can see someone else raising hand. Yeah, it's still Yuri raising hand, but I think it's like the previous one. So yeah, totally agreed that the tool needs to do the job for saving your time and effort, not to be something that keeps you busy. All right, I think that's all with the comments. If you come up with something even after we finish, you're absolutely welcome to add. Trello is a great tool as well. Yeah, again, I tried it too. It stuck for a month or so, but for myself, it turned out to be the story that Sergey mentions, that I caught myself spending more time using Trello than it actually saved me, because it's very bright, you know, it's very user-friendly, and I caught myself playing around, moving these tasks, grouping and regrouping them. So I understood that it's something that actually takes time from me. But speaking of the like interface and the idea, I definitely can recommend that. All right, I think that's all for today. Thank you guys so much for visiting. I will share the deck. And you are absolutely welcome also to use the links for Facebook and LinkedIn to get in contact with me, and hope to see you at my next events. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, Ganna. Thank you guys for joining. See you next time.
Bye.
And have a great day.
Everyone.
Bye.